Hello, family, and welcome back to Uncle Yemi Reacts, a place where we take hot headlines, slow them down, and break them apart respectfully, fact by fact. Today's story has captured Nigeria and swept through African entertainment corners, social media platforms, and global fan circles. It's polarizing and it's divisive. It involves one of Nigeria's biggest musical exports, especially of the last 10, 15 years. A teenage girl looking for answers about her identity and a legal and emotional issue that has resurfaced after more than a decade. Hmm. This is the story of Davido, Anu Adeleke, and her mother, Ayo Labinjo. And we're going to look at what is known, what has been alleged, and what remains unverified. There's no fluff here. There's no hype here. Just context and clarity. Welcome to my show. David Adeleke, professionally known as Davido, is one of the most successful Afrobeat artists in the world. Since emerging in the Nigerian music scene in the early 2010s, with hits like Dami Duro, remember that song? He has built a career that bridges Africa and global pop culture, selling out shows and collaborating with top artists. Davido's personal life has sometimes been public, including acknowledged relationships and children, but nothing has drawn as much sustained debate as this paternity claim. Why is this different? According to multiple sources, the controversy dates back to the early 2010s, but has gained renewed attention in January 2026 after Michelle Anu Adeleke, who is currently about 13 years old, born circa around November 2013, publicly appealed for clarity over her paternity. In an Instagram post shared on January 15, 2026, Anu wrote about years of emotional distress, explaining that her classmates ridiculed her when she and Davido, her father, allegedly, according to her, she said she experienced bullying since around age 6, leading her to seek clarity about her identity as she grows older. That would have been about 7 years ago. In her own words, Anu said, "As I transition into a young woman, I am respectfully asking Mr. David Adeleke for a DNA test to establish my identity. This test is between my dad and I." So in her mind, she believes Davido is her father. "It is something I want and I believe is the right thing to do." This plea struck an emotional chord with many Nigerians, both in Nigeria and in diaspora, and even non-Nigerians are interested in this particular case. It spawned sympathy and heated debate online. It's polarizing, it's divisive, and people are staying on one side or the other. Who is Anu's mother, by the way? Anu's mother is a lady called Miss Ayo Labinjo, who has been a central figure in this narrative for years. She has repeatedly maintained that Davido is the biological father of her daughter, and she has publicly disputed claims about prior DNA tests. Hmm. In a statement on Instagram from January 2025, uh, Labinjo said she was shocked to see reports claiming multiple DNA tests had been done. She insisted that, to her knowledge, no multiple tests had occurred and described a situation where blood was drawn in a private clinic and exchanged for money, though she did not provide any publicly verified documents. I think that would have helped if that was provided, although you can also argue that maybe that's for the courts and not for social media. Her position highlights a long-standing tension: Anu's desire for clarity, identity, and her mother's insistence that the matter has not been properly resolved. Hmm. So what did Mr. Davido say about this? Davido's reaction to the renewed appeal was swift and unequivocal. Using his social media platforms, including X, he denied the paternity claim and said the matter had already been addressed through multiple DNA tests conducted over the years. In one of the series of posts, he wrote that he had taken 5 separate DNA tests. Listen to me, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Each of which came back negative, and that he considers the issue closed. So let me read what he said. He said in his own words, Davido said, after 5 DNA tests, she decreased. She decreased means she's not okay mentally. She and her mom better leave me the F alone and go find her papa, which is her father. Now I have a question. When did Davido take these 5 separate DNA tests? When? What is the time period? It'd be interesting to know when those tests were taken and how those tests were conducted and which hospitals those tests were done in. Let's keep on going. He further stated that he had never had a personal relationship with the girl's mother outside of the testing process and expressed frustration about the prolonged public debate. So Davido is not happy about what's going on. Some of his language in this post was explicit and forceful. And critics rightfully have noted that, especially given the involvement of a minor, the tone sparked mixed reactions online. And I think Davido should not have responded directly to Anu's Instagram message to him. I think he should have probably gotten his lawyers involved and said, we're looking into it. Something professional and unemotional. When you respond emotionally, especially when a minor is related, there's nothing you're going to say that's going to sound right when you're angry. This is a minor. You're an older person. You should know better. That's my take on what Davido said to Anu, and we can say he said it because it was his verified account, and he hasn't come out to say it was hacked or anything. Let's keep going. One of the critical issues and central issues in this story is the DNA testing itself. Like I mentioned, Davido insists that 5 separate tests were conducted, 3 at hospitals he selected, stay with me, and 2 chosen by the opposing party. Opposing party meaning from Ayo Labinjo's side. So think about it this way. Davido is saying 3 tests were done at his own hospital that he chose. 2 were done at the hospital that Ayo Labinjo posed. Together, we have 5 tests, right? 5 tests. Yet, according to public statements attributed to Anu's mother, the history of the DNA testing is murky. Ms. Lamijo is saying only 1 test was done at a private clinic and that the blood drawn was discarded with no legitimate independently verified result emerging. Where was this test done? What private clinic? Who was the doctor? Where's the test results? No documentation of this test has been verified publicly, and no court has issued a ruling in this matter. Why is this thing not in court? Why is it on the pages of social media? The conflicting accounts are central to why the controversy persists. Why Davido's camp is claiming that multiple negative results came out of the test they did. Ms. Lamijo's side is saying that only 1 was done, and even that one, blood was drawn in an illegal or illegitimate manner. Who do we believe? Now let's go to the young girl at the center. Let's listen to Anu's voice. Let's listen to Anu's pain. Few aspects of this story has been as powerful as Anu's own appeal. In her Instagram post, she explained how the uncertainty around her paternity affected her from a young age, leading to bullying and emotional distress. She wrote about wanting clarity as she enters her teenage years. She's 13, remember? And thanked Nigerians who had supported her emotionally. Your heart is going to go to a minor. But should a minor even been talking like this on social media? Leave it in the comment section. Let me know what you think. It's rare for a minor to step into a dispute of this magnitude. And while her appeal has won sympathy from many online, for me, it has raised ethical questions about whether such matters should be aired publicly rather than handled privately or legally. And why, for God's sake, is Miss Labinjo telling a 13-year-old to write this kind of thing publicly? The first time she's been introduced to the world. It's not for winning awards. It's not for being the best in school. It's not for being in a competition. It's for questioning her paternity publicly. This is bad. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Regardless of the outcome, her voice reminds us that real people, especially children, live in the aftermath of unresolved disagreements between allegedly her father, who we don't know if is our father, her mother, who we do know is her mother. There's no question or contention there. Now, some influencers have come out. Social media has erupted with opinions. Daddy Freeze did a video the other day. He said it's almost certain that the child is not David's because he has connections. Shout out to Daddy Freeze. He has connections, and a family member shared some very private evidence with him, which he's satisfied with. He doesn't have to show it to the world. It's between Daddy Freeze and the Adelekes. Kemi Olunloyo, Auntie Kemi Olunloyo, my apologies, has said she does not believe the 5 DNA test, and she's saying Davido should do the right thing, and she believes that Davido is the father. But Auntie Kemi, I'm going to take what you're going to say with a pinch of salt because there's been a long-standing feud between you and the Adelekes, or certainly between you and Davido. So I don't know how reliable that is. Whatever the case may be, many commentators are urging for empathy and restraint. I'm one of them, especially given that Anu is a minor. She's just 13, for crying out loud. Why should this even be public? This should be handled privately. No child should endure bullying and over unresolved adult dispute. I agree with that. There has to be protection of Anu's emotional well-being. I hope we're not going to see more posts like that from her, and these things will be done in the right way, the way adults should handle it. And if he needs to go to court, he needs to go to court. They need to go to court and get Davido to do a DNA test, but they have to prove at the court that there are grounds for him to do this. Meanwhile, reactions to Davido's language on social platforms, which I also condemned earlier, that he should not be speaking like that to a minor, showed that even among fans and critics, there's a disagreement over how to engage with sensitive personal issues. Some people say it doesn't matter, as long as it's not his child, he can speak to her anyhow. I don't share that sentiment. No, that's not right. Now, at the time of this documentary, there's no publicly released court-verified DNA report confirming paternity, and no public legal action appears to have concluded the matter. Both sides maintain their positions. Davido insists that multiple DNA tests were done and all were negative. Anu and her mother challenged that account and have called for further clarity, which is why we're here. Because no independent verification has been released, the dispute remains unresolved in the public domain. So what do we make of all this? What does Uncle Yemi think? First, it's clear that this is not a simple matter of gossip or opinion. It touches on identity, emotional well-being, celebrity, power, and how social media amplifies personal issues. What if Anu is not Davido's child? What does that do to that child? What if Anu is Davido's child? What are your opinions about Davido going to be? For me, the strongest piece of verifiable information is Davido's own public denial and his claim of multiple DNA tests returning negative results. At the same time, Anu's public appeal speaks to her lived experience, the bullying and distress she says she endured, and her desire for clarity. What remains what remains missing is a neutral, independently verified DNA result made public or a legal resolution through the courts. Without that, certainty remains elusive. In disputes like this, the burden of proof lies with those making the claim. That is true. Until that proof emerges, it is responsible and compassionate to acknowledge the complexities and avoid premature judgment. As a society, we must care about the child's future, prioritize respect, and let verified facts lead the conversation. This is Uncle Yemi's Reacts, where we seek clarity, not controversy, context, not chaos, truth, not noise. If you found this breakdown helpful, respectful, and maybe you learned one or two new things and illuminating, please subscribe. I'm a new channel. I'm looking to grow. Like the video so that the algorithm can send it to more people, and share. Share on Instagram, share on WhatsApp, share on Facebook, wherever you can share. Now, finally, tell me what angle you want next. The legal side, the emotional side, the cultural side, and let me have your own opinion. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think Davido is the father? Do you think Davido is not the father? Is this a money grab? Celebrities get accused of being fathering children. This is not today. Michael Jackson did a song about it, Billie Jean, Chris Brown, so many paternity issues from celebrities over the years. I'm not saying some of them were not the fathers, but some of them also clearly were not the fathers. So who do we believe? I lean towards Davido because all his children, um, he has claimed them. Although yes, he has done DNA with some of them, rightfully so. But I'm leaning towards them because he's claimed all the previous children. So why is Anu's own different? Leaning towards doesn't mean I 100% support. I only 100% support the result of the DNA test. With that, I'll see you in the next one.